Welcome to 360 Money Matters, where financial planners Billy and Andrew talk all things financial planning. This podcast aims to increase your knowledge and confidence with all things money. Each week, they will cover topics like wealth creation strategies, investment principles, creating passive income, paying off your debt faster, and much, much more, so you can live a life on your terms without limits.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 360 Money Matters podcast. I'm Billy and I'm joined by my co-host,
Andrew. Bills, here we are back again for another podcast and back again with a Christmas podcast. It's unusual that we're already talking about this. I can't believe how quickly the year's gone.
It's insane. It only felt like we were sort of doing this a year ago, right, on the podcast.
Well, it feels like it was less than a year ago that we were doing this on the podcast.
It's crazy.
Because it has been a year.
It has been a year. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
We're definitely having fun. And look, I reckon this one is going to be really timely, really relevant. And I think at this particular point in time, just with increasing interest rates again, increasing inflation or cost of living, this will be a really good one to, I think, help people think about and some practical tips around their Christmas spending.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a difficult time of year it's a difficult time of year for everyone from a cash flow perspective, unless you own a credit card company or anything like that, because this is the peak spending season and peak earning season for them, right?
You eat too much, you drink too much, you spend too much, and you're kind of forced to spend time with maybe family members that you don't, not for any of our family members, of course, but for family members that you just can't be stuffed seeing. So it's a difficult time of year, right?
But hey, we still love Christmas.
We do love Christmas. So Andrew, let's get into it. We always like talking about this one first, and we'll probably keep talking about it till the cows come home. What's the first tip that we tend to think about when we're talking to people about managing their spending over the Christmas period?
Yeah. Look, the first thing is set a budget. Decide on how much you can spend and set up a budget for Christmas, because it's so easy for it to blow out. Spend an extra $50 on this person's gift, spend an extra $100 on this person's gift, 50 here, 50 there, and all of a sudden you spent, $2,000 more than what you thought you would. So decide on how much you're going to spend, allocate it, per person or per gift that you need to buy, but just set up a budget on what you're going to spend for Christmas, because it's a very easy time of year for it to blow out.
Yeah, definitely. I think a really good one as well too, and this is probably not going to help this Christmas. I think this is probably the takeout to do for next year, and
which I'm pretty sure that we said it last year. So hopefully our listeners have listened and this isn't a problem.
So end of podcast.
Exactly. There you go.
Is basically to set up sort of like a Christmas savings account, essentially, where you get a small amount of money each pay cycle, and you put that a small amount aside. And even if it's, something like $20 a week, that's still $1,000 in 12 months time. It can have a substantial difference over sort of having that money available and then not having to rely on sort of pulling money out of savings or spending on credit or anything like that to help get through the Christmas period. And I think in my experience, if you can do those two things in conjunction, setting a budget and saving throughout the year for Christmas, it definitely helps.
Yeah. I mean, look, one of the things that we like to do is even, save not just for Christmas, but just gift. Like, how many times do you have gifts that, either come up unexpectedly, or you're, oh, damn, I need to buy this person a birthday present or whatever it is. There's a savings account there. On average, last year we spent, $2,000-$3,000 on gifts, whatever the number is. Put that away into savings, and so you're just dipping into the account that it's designed for. But it also sets your ceiling as to how much you spend, which is probably the next one. Don't spend on credit, because that's when you don't have the ceiling. Credit cards, afterpays, personal loans, all of that stuff. It's really easy to have a Christmas hangover, and not the one where you've had too much fun the night before, but the Christmas hangover from a credit perspective. And all of a sudden you're paying for Christmas into, March, April, May.
It's the Christmas hangover, they call it. But look, I think the other one, do your shopping early.
Yeah.
And in conjunction with that, buy during the sale period if you can. So there's sales all the time from a retail perspective, whether it's online with the Black Friday sales or whether it's, shops doing their it seems like there's a sale on every single month these days. But yeah, if you can do your shopping early and take advantage of particular sales, just on that, you need to know your prices, because I swear retailers increase their price to then discount it to be able to put the sticker and say 20% off. But anyway, look, it's a tough environment for retail at the moment. But yeah, that's my tip from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one is regifting. It sounds like a bit of a dirty word, but if you've gotten things that you're not 100% sold on throughout the year, or even maybe last Christmas or anything like that, just because it's not the right gift for you doesn't mean that it isn't the right gift for someone else. So if you've got an opportunity to give it to someone else who might enjoy it more than you will, and you can save yourself the expense of needing to have something, or needing to fork out an amount of money for a gift, then regifting is another way to help close the gap on the budget from a spending perspective of Christmas.
No, look, I think that's something that we're seeing more and more of. You just need to, I guess, remember who gave you the gift in the first place to make sure that you don't regift it. You don't regift it back to them. Another one from my perspective is, and I think this is the difference between sort of material goods versus experiences. So rather than giving a gift, look at some alternatives that you can do.
Yeah.
We did this years and years ago as a family, and since I was a child, I reckon this was the best Christmas that I had. Essentially what we did one year is we pooled all of the money that we were going to spend on each other, and we said, okay, let's take that money and let's go on a family trip. And we hired one of those houseboats on the Murray River, and it was the best holiday, the best Christmas, like I said, that I had since I was a child. So finding, family holidays or family outings is an alternative to, a gift that you're going to give or receive. And, it may not necessarily be something that you need or want, but those memories will stick with you forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing I love about that as well is you're not just pooling, especially if you've got a few families involved, then you're, pooling the gifts that you would have otherwise bought, maybe 10 people gifts for. And there's 10 people that otherwise would have bought another 10 gifts, and all going on a holiday together and spending time together, which is really what it should all be about.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Secret Santa is another really good one. There's two ways to think about this. One is, in a cost-saving environment, so being able to drive the cost down as to what you're ultimately spending. The other thing is, you can do it as a cost-saving thing, so that, and I think most people are a bit more open about it now. Everyone knows interest rates are high, inflation's high, so having that conversation is a little bit easier. But the other way to look at it is, well, you can either have, maybe 10 gifts that are, $50 each, or we can all do, Secret Santa, and you get one gift that might be, $150, and something that you really would have liked, and it'd be, too much to expect it from one person. But being able to, spread that amount around means that you're saving money by doing the Secret Santa, but in addition to that, you're also getting something that you really want.
Yeah, and that tends to flow into, I think, the next one around setting the expectation. And this could be done in sort of two ways, where you can come together as a family and turn around and say, okay, we are setting a limit for the gifts that we're going to give each other this year. And it could be something as simple as, putting a ceiling on the amount of money that is the guideline of what people should spend. It could go one step further and say, okay, we're only buying gifts for children under a certain age. It could be something as simple as, hey, this is one that I tend to think of with my mum, and I'll give you an example. There's probably nothing that, well, my mum or really anyone can buy me that if I want something, I'm going to go and buy it, right? So there's nothing that you can buy me that I need or that I necessarily want, because if that's the case, I've probably already gone and done it. But the thing that I would value more so is, if you're going to spend $50 to buy me something, a t-shirt that, is probably not my style or I don't like it, I'd actually rather you come and grab me and shout me for lunch and we can spend 2 hours together, because I'd value that a lot more. So setting the expectation around, hey, it doesn't need to look like this, or it doesn't need to be that, or whatever. Or, I'm going to take the kids to the park, come with us and spend time doing that. That will be more valuable to me. And that's different for everybody. That was just an example that I used, but talk about that and set those expectations with your family and your friends around what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really valuable as well. At the end of the day, telling someone that, hey, me spending time with you is worth more than, a $50 gift, I think is a testament to, the relationship that you have with that person as well. Shopping online, I mean, this sort of ties into the, getting onto your Christmas spending early, which Billy has an awesome story about that. I always think about this every time we talk about getting on top of Christmas spending early, because Billy had an awesome idea one year of leaving it all to the last minute.
It worked. Not very well for Okay, so let's just deviate for a sec. But essentially what I did is I left. So don't love the idea of going to the shops and all of that sort of stuff, right? All of the headaches associated with it. So I thought, you know what? You go to the shops, you buy, you plan, and then you forget, and you're like, oh, I missed a present for this person, or I missed a present for that person, or did I get them enough, or will they like it, what have you. Anyway, so one year I decided to do all of my Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve. And it worked perfectly because I went late, the shops were starting to close, and I just had to buy stuff. So for me, it was perfect. It was basically like just literally rip off the Band-Aid and I was done.
And but for whoever actually got a gift from Billy, it was horrible because everyone got a gift from the one store that was still open.
Andrew, it's the thought that counts, all right?
Leaving it to the last minute, that's not a good thought.
The fact that they got a gift is the thought, right? So anyway, that's my Christmas story.
So don't do a Billy and leave it to the last minute, because you're probably going to overspend and you're going to get something for someone that they don't want.
That's it.
And Billy's family now all knows about it because it's on a podcast and it's everywhere.
Hey, I get points for trying, right?
Try to be efficient. I'll give you that.
That's it.
So sorry, I digress. We were talking about shopping online, getting onto it early, looking for deals online. I know people that do their Christmas shopping quite literally right after Christmas is done. They'll start looking for, what someone wants in anticipation for next Christmas, so that you're spreading out your spending, not in one peak month, but actually doing that over a course of a year. So that's, taking the complete opposite approach to what Billy took in his strategy.
There's another one that's a little bit radical that I tend to think about anyway. And it depends on your comfort levels as well too, and it depends on the type of personality that you are. Let me just explain. So if you're jammed up for money and you've got family members that maybe don't necessarily understand and are expecting certain things, you can just tell people you're an environmentalist and you don't believe in consumption, okay? So my gift to you this Christmas is not something that I'm going to buy you. Maybe it's something that I cook for you or bake for you, or I'm coming to spend time and we're going to go to the park and have a picnic or whatever it may be. So that could be an approach.
But dressing it up as an environmentalist.
100%. Or it could be the flip side where, you are an environmentalist. So, you that's how you are, and communicating that to people. And whatever's right or wrong for you, I think there's no right or wrong. But if that's, how you are, and what you sort of gravitate towards, communicate that to people.
I think that's a big takeaway. Like, be honest with people. I think most people get it now. Like, things have...
It's a bigger consideration now. I mean, climate crisis and everything going on, like everybody thinking about it, we've all got our part to play and we all need to contribute. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you could probably use that as a bit of a guise to not spend money as well too.
Yeah. The other thing is comparing prices. I mean, all too often you walk into a store, or even you're looking at a store online and, I like that. That's perfect for someone. Bang, let's purchase it. There are some awesome apps out there that you can even take a photo and it'll automatically do a cost comparison, either online or in the area. But even just doing a quick Google search, this is what I want. And okay, here it's $50. And if I, maybe walk a couple of 100 meters up the road, I can, get it for $40. I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer. So if you're looking to purchase something, just make sure that you're getting it for the cheapest possible price that you can.
Yeah, no, definitely 100%. Consider secondhand. Yeah. So depending on what it is that you're purchasing for someone, consider secondhand. Because look, especially with children, in our experience, like, we've got family, fairly big type of family, and the kids get a lot of stuff. And at the moment, it's a lot better because they're getting clothes and things. But back in the day when they were a bit younger and it was just a toy this and a toy that, like, they'd play with it and it'd go in the cupboard and they'd use it once or twice and then that was it. They'd forget about it.
Or with my daughter, it's, you get a whole bunch of toys and they don't even want to play with it, and they walk into your room, but the mouse that you're using for the laptop, that's what they want to hold and play with.
I digress for a sec, but it's like those memes that you see on online and stuff like that, where a kid gets a present and they're not playing with the present, they're playing with the cardboard box and they're jumping in it and putting it on their head and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly right.
So maybe just a trip down to Bunnings.
Yeah.
Next sponsor, by the way, but Bunnings to go get some of the cardboard boxes that they've got, and away you go. So but definitely consider secondhand. There's a lot of different marketplaces around online out there that it's really easy to be able to search for specific things. You can put in parameters around location to your suburb, so you don't have to travel too far and stuff. Definitely think considering secondhand is a very viable option. And if you've got the time to put into it and a little bit of effort, I think it can go a really long way, because half the time people are selling stuff for a really meaningless price just to get rid of it, just to move it. So they're happy for someone to come and pick it up.
Yeah. Saying no, Bills, that's another one this time of year. I mean, I guess it's not just from a present side of things and gifts and all of that stuff, but it's a really easy time of year where everyone wants to, go catch up for drinks, catch up for dinners, catch up for lunches and brunches and all of this stuff. And it's great to see people, but understanding that, sometimes it's beyond your means. And hey, instead of, no, I don't want to go to dinner, let's come over and we can order some takeaway. Let's meet at a park and the families and the kids can all catch up there. So thinking of creative ideas without, saying no sounds a little bit harsh as to what I'm saying, but creative ideas around, hey, it doesn't have to be the what we've potentially always done in the past, and it doesn't need to be expensive and cost money to catch up and see people this time of year.
Where that really leads into, in my mind, is, you're right. Saying no is one thing, but just with all of this, and to kind of almost tie a bow around it, is just being conscious around what it is that you're doing, spending, committing to at this particular time of year. Because it does get really frantic. Everybody, is rushing to the end of the year at 1,000,000 miles an hour. There's more social events. There's school holidays if you've got children. There's Christmas parties. There's catch up with families. There's a whole range of different stuff. So just being mindful around what you're doing, where you're going, and where you're spending your money, ultimately, I think sums that up nicely. And all of those things that we've spoken about, I think, is sort of touches on that in one way or another. Say yes to the things that are going to give you benefit and joy. Kind of feel like I'm pulling something off Marie Kondo here, but if it doesn't bring you joy, say no, right? So but just be conscious about it, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
I think that wraps it up perfectly. Pun was intended there, Bills.
We didn't do one on wrapping paper.
There you go. Don't spend money on wrapping paper.
Use a cardboard box instead.
From Bunnings.
That's it. Andrew, thank you for the podcast today. That was another good session.
Yeah, always a bit of fun jumping on the podcast. Thanks again to our listeners and our viewers, and happy festive season to everyone that's enjoying the time off, spending time with family and friends, and enjoying all of the festivities in a cost-effective way.
Thanks everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening today. If you have any questions on what we've talked about, or would like to have a chat about your money journey, visit us at 360fs.com.au.
Just a reminder to our listeners that the information contained in this podcast is general in nature and it is not intended as personal recommendations for the audience. Please consider whether the information suits your circumstances before acting on it. This information is provided by Billy Amaritis and Andrew Nicolaou of 360 Financial Strategists Proprietary Limited, authorised representatives and credit representatives of AMP Financial Planning.